Everything is going well, genuinely well. You like them, they clearly like you, there's no red flag, no obvious problem, nothing you could point to and say, this is why. And then, out of nowhere, you do something that makes absolutely no sense. You pick a fight over something small, you suddenly go cold, you cancel plans you were looking forward to. You find yourself thinking, almost involuntarily, about everything that could go wrong with this person. Later, lying awake, you ask yourself the question that brought you to this video. Why did I just do that? Nothing was wrong, so why did some part of me act like something was? Here's the uncomfortable answer psychologists have been mapping for years. You didn't make a mistake, you executed a strategy. And once you see how that strategy actually works, you'll start noticing it everywhere, including in relationships you've already lost.
Let's start by naming what this actually is, because the term itself is more precise than people expect. Psychologists call it relationship self-sabotage, a pattern of behavior that actively undermines something that is, by every visible measure, going well. And here's the detail that changes everything about how you should think about it. Researchers describe it specifically as a cognitive strategy, not a random glitch, not bad luck, not simply being difficult. A strategy, which means it has a job. It's trying to accomplish something. The question is, what? The answer researchers keep landing on is self-protection, specifically protecting your existing sense of who you are and what you deserve, even when that means sabotaging something good. Here's the logic, and once you hear it, it starts to feel disturbingly familiar. If a part of you believes, somewhere underneath conscious thought, that you're not fully lovable, or that relationships eventually fall apart, or that people eventually leave, then a relationship that's actually going well creates a strange kind of danger. Not the danger of losing it, the danger of it contradicting what you already believe about yourself. Psychologists describe self-sabotage as serving exactly this function, protecting your pre-existing self-image even at the cost of the relationship itself. In other words, some part of your mind would rather be right about believing something will fail than risk being wrong by letting something succeed.
This connects directly to attachment style, and this is where a lot of people find themselves uncomfortably seen. If you have an anxious attachment style, self-sabotage often shows up as a strange, backwards logic, ending things or creating conflict before the other person has a chance to leave first. Researchers describe this as tied to what's called an avoidance goal, an underlying drive to avoid the pain of eventual rejection, even if avoiding it means causing the very outcome you were trying to prevent. If you deeply expect abandonment, sabotaging the relationship yourself can feel, on some unconscious level, safer than waiting for it to happen to you. If you have an avoidant attachment style, the sabotage tends to look different. Emotional distance appears right when things start to feel too close. Small flaws in your partner suddenly seem unbearable. A part of you starts quietly building a case for why this won't work right around the moment it's actually starting to. Both patterns look completely different on the surface. Confrontation versus distance, clinging versus withdrawing. But underneath, they're wanting the exact same core program. Protect yourself.
Here's the part that makes this so difficult to catch in real time. Almost none of it is conscious. Researchers are specific about this. People rarely, if ever, decide to sabotage a relationship. There's no moment of thinking, I should ruin this. Instead, it emerges from thoughts and feelings about yourself and the relationship that operate mostly outside conscious awareness, producing an urge to act a certain way, an urge that feels, in the moment, completely justified. This is why, from the inside, self-sabotage rarely feels like sabotage. It feels like a legitimate reaction. The distance felt earned because they seemed a little off lately. The fight felt justified because they really did say something inconsiderate. Every individual instance has a plausible surface explanation. It's only the pattern, repeating across different relationships, different partners, different specific circumstances, that reveals what's actually driving it.
Now here's the twist that reframes everything you've just heard, because it explains why this is so much harder to fix than simply trying not to do it. Self-sabotage isn't a flaw in your character. It's a prediction engine, and it's an old one. If your early experiences taught you that closeness eventually leads to disappointment, abandonment, or pain, your mind built a model of relationships based on that data. And minds are excellent at protecting their existing models. When a relationship threatens to violate the model by actually going well, by actually being safe,
Part of you doesn't experience that as good news, it experiences it as data that doesn't fit, and searches, often unconsciously, for a way to make the situation match the old prediction again. This is why some people, without meaning to, seem to consistently find the flaw, escalate the small disagreement, or quietly withdraw right at the exact moment things are going right. It's not bad luck repeating itself. It's an old model, still running, still trying to keep its predictions accurate, even when accuracy cost you something you actually wanted. So what do you actually do if you recognize this pattern in yourself? The research points away from simply gritting your teeth and trying to be better in the moment, because willpower alone rarely overrides a pattern this deeply wired. The more effective starting point is building specific self-awareness around your own triggers, noticing exactly when the urge to create distance, start a fight, or find fault tends to appear. For many people, it clusters around a specific moment, right after real intimacy, right after things start to feel genuinely good, right after a partner does something that directly contradicts an old fear. The second step is learning to tolerate the discomfort of things going well without immediately needing to explain it, fix it, or test it. This sounds simple and is genuinely difficult because for some nervous systems, unexplained safety feels stranger than familiar disappointment. And the third, which research on attachment consistently points to, is communicating the internal experience directly rather than acting it out indirectly. Saying, I'm noticing an urge to pull away right now and I don't think.
Here's what's worth sitting with as we close this out. If you've recognized yourself somewhere in this video, the relationships you've damaged without fully understanding why weren't destroyed by bad luck or by choosing the wrong people over and over. In many cases, they were undone by a very old, very protective part of you, one that learned a long time ago that disappointment was safer to control than hope was to risk. That part of you isn't your enemy. It was trying to protect you from something that at some point was probably real. The work isn't to silence it or override it through sheer force. It's to finally show it enough evidence, slowly, repeatedly, that the specific danger it's still guarding against isn't actually here anymore. If this explains something you've done but never understood, hit like and subscribe. Every week, we dig into the psychology behind the things your mind does without asking your permission. And I want to know, can you think of a specific moment you sabotaged something that was actually going well? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. See you in the next one.